Okay, so this is the next book giveaway right here. The Word Study Concordance. This is a very important book because what it does is it actually lists out all of the words in the Greek in order. I've mentioned this book before and I've used it. So if you look up the word agape or agapao here, let me see if the word agape was over here. Yes, this word agape, you'll actually be able to see everywhere where it's mentioned in order. And since it's in the Greek, it's in the New Testament. So this is important, and this, like as I said, this is the book I want to give away. But while I'm on it, I'll explain something to you. On the left here, this is the number of the word in the Greek concordance, and this right here, this is how many times it's mentioned. So when you see so-called preacher intellectuals say agape is mentioned in the Bible 116 times, he didn't go in there and count it like he makes it look like he did. He actually just looked right here at this number and says, this mentioned 116 times. And this is the word where it's from, 25. So if we go over here, like the first one I read was 25. Right there, it's agapao. So the reason why that's important is because you'll understand a lot of the context of how the word is mentioned in the Bible. So if I go to, say, one of those very offensive verses of the Bible people don't like to deal with, like 2 John verse 6, it says, sorry, I gotta find where the focus spot is, that's where in the Bible it says, this is love, that you walk in the commandments. So let me make sure that's the right spot. Yes, right there. And this is love, that we should walk according to his commandments. So agape, that same word we looked up a minute ago, number 26. And this is the Interlinear Bible. And the reason I wanted to show you that, you can see that was in Greek, and the Old Testament's in Hebrew. So if we look in John 3:16, we'll see that this word right here is from 25. Agape sin. And it's from 25, and it looks like agape. And we looked at 25 over there a moment ago, and it doesn't look exactly like this. Agape sin. So what's up with that? Well, that's where it comes in handy to actually understand that just as in English, the Greek has parts of speech. So if you actually were to go to, one second, I got to reset my timer over here so I know how much time I have. If you were to go to this analytical lexicon, to the Greek New Testament by Mounts, and this Interlinear Bible is by J.P. Green, coded with Strong's numbers, just like this is coded to Strong's numbers, Strong's Concordance. And the analytical lexicon, and we look up agape, you'll actually see that there are actually different parts of speech. So you see that it's explaining to you the part of speech as it was used in this particular place. So there's different forms of the word that you won't always get if you just go to your Strong's Concordance. And you might be confused if you look in the Interlinear Bible and say, like, wait a second, that says 26 like agape or 25 like agapao. Why does it look different? Well, that's because there's different parts of speech. And that's where an analytical lexicon like this comes in handy, because it'll actually show you the different parts of speech. Now, the only thing I found like that in the Hebrew so far, and I know there's a lot of Bible software out there that's probably good, but I like holding physical books. So the Brown Driver Briggs Hebrew and English lexicon, and I looked up love in the Hebrew here to show you, and it's, I think I looked up, actually, you know what, I never actually made it to go in there, sorry about that. But what we can do, which I plan on showing you anyways, this book right here, this is the new Strong's Dictionary, the new Strong's Complete Dictionary of Biblical Words. And I mean, you'll see that the word love in the Bible, there's a whole bunch of Hebrew words, like ahab, ahaba, And I can look up number 73 there, or ahab, and look at all these different words for love. It just goes on and on and on. There's a whole bunch of words in the Bible for love in the Hebrew and in the Greek. So if we look up that number 73 right there, sorry if it's kind of blurry, I'll try to find that spot where it actually focuses. So if we look up 73 here in the Hebrew, one moment while I do that. If I look up 73, has the numbers out to the side. That makes it convenient, so it's easier to find. And this is not what I was looking for. So let me see. I know my Hebrew alphabet, so let me look up A H B. So this is the Dalet. So alpha, or it's Aleph, Bet, Gamma, Delta. Or sorry, Aleph, Bet, Vet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. So here's the Hey. So ahab. Now I gotta find the B. Oh, here it is, right here, circled actually. So I've looked it up before. I just didn't mark. Oh yeah, I did mark it. I just didn't know which word I was looking for. So, anyways, this actually will list for you in the Hebrew. This is the Brown Driver Briggs again. And it will show you all the different forms and meaning of the word love as it's mentioned throughout the scripture, which is kind of like this book I'm giving away right now. So, the Word Study Concordance. I'm giving this book away, and it lists the Hebrew words out a little more orderly, I'd say, than the way the Brown Driver Briggs. It can be confusing if you don't know exactly what you're looking at, because there's just so much information on a single page. And the Gesenius, this was like the definitions. This gives you the definitions, and much like this one does, but this one's more like a locator, and it gives you the nuance, while this will just give you a definition of the word, but it also gives nuances as well. And this is kind of like the one-stop shop I always tell people about, because it's got the concordance directly in the back of the Hebrew and the Greek. So I opened up into the Hebrew right there, and then it's got the Greek as well in here. And this is the Hebrew Greek Keyword Study Bible, pretty popular, or very popular actually. And this is kind of like, this book right here is kind of like the analytical lexicon. It just lists out the information differently. So when you go in there, it'll actually show you verse by verse and pick out select words and give you its parts of speech, because these give you the forces of words right here, like nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, infinitives. And you'll kind of just, whether it's singular or plural, and you just get a kind of a different nuance to understand how the transfer is being made in the language between the words, like whether it's the subject or the predicate and all that different kind of things. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I'm learning as I go. And the reason why the Theological Dictionary of the New Testament is so important, remember, we're still talking about love and mainly agape, but we know that there's also the Hebrew words, and there's a whole bunch of different words even in the Greek for love. So this gives you a word wrap-up right here. Agapao, agape, and agapetos. And it gives you this word wrap-up because there's different words for the word love in the Greek, and there's different forms of the same word. Like we said, like one might be the noun, one might be the verb. So in this, though, he gives you the cultural context as well. He'll give you a breakdown of each word that he does to tell you which section's going to talk about what. So let me find that particular section if I can. I don't see it right away right here, but he'll give you like a lot of times he'll give you like a 1, then he'll give you a 2, and then a Roman numeral to explain to you what it's going to see. So here's 2, and it's the profane and imminent conception of love. Then he'll tell you what the Jews said about love, the religious conception of love. So this gives you a cultural and historical background of the word. So, I mean, talk about it. It's like an etymological grammar and definition all in one, and it's very in depth. I mean, those are long articles on one word, so that's important. And just like this gives you that interesting little word wrap up like that right there. This book right here is very significant, the Strong's right here, because of the way it gives you each word in the Hebrew and in the Greek for a particular word. So it gives you all of the Hebrew words for love and all of the Greek words for love right here, and the number, the Strong's Concordance number. Now this is important because it makes it way easier to find the words if you don't speak Hebrew and Greek like most of us English speaking people. And well, I think I covered everything I wanted to. And Thayer, these a lot of times are kind of like go hand in hand, Thayer and Gesenius, because this is the Greek definitions, this is the Hebrew definitions, and they'll give you nuances and parts of speech and just different things like that. So, and you can look at them, and I know I'm not saying everything exactly perfect, but it'll help us learn, and that's what we want to do. So and this, one more thing, this is the index right here, volume of the Theological Dictionary of the New Testament, like I was showing you here. And in the index volume, he actually lists out all the words in order, like a lot of these references, kind of to give you the number. But he gives you some Hebrew words too. Now this isn't exhaustive on the Hebrew, but if you understand the concept of synonyms between the Old Testament and New Testament, like spirit, ruach, which is the Hebrew word for spirit, and pneuma, which is the Greek word for spirit, you can look up and you can actually find some more on some of the Hebrew words, because he's given you a different context to explain to you the synonym, and he'll go a little deeper and on those Hebrew words, but he doesn't have all of the Hebrew words there. But that's just an important aspect if you ever were considering getting the Theological Dictionary of the New Testament. So anyways, I hope this helps, and thank you for taking the time to watch. We got books everywhere. Alright, so I'll catch y'all later. Alright, bye.